Well, looks like we're live now. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm just going to wait for a few minutes just to make sure we have some of our loyal viewers tune in and watch us. Today, we have a little bit of pet preparedness, and I also want to go over some of the stuff that we went over a couple months ago regarding COVID-19 and just share with you some information, refresh some information. I know we are living in uncertain times, knowing that we're seeing a spike in cases again. So, like I said, June is Pet Preparedness Month, so I want to share some information and some resources on how you can get your pet ready, and we'll get started in a few minutes or a few seconds otherwise. So welcome to everyone who's joining us. I'm going to wait till a couple more viewers come in and join us. That way everyone gets to get the full presentation. And then, of course, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Go ahead, just submit them in the chat. I'd be more than happy to share that information with you. So we'll give it about 2 more minutes, make sure everyone gets their notification that we are live and ready to go. Hopefully people are streaming even to watch. Okay, it looks like I'm going to get started. So one of the most important topics that we talk about in Listos, California is making sure we get those prepared who can't necessarily prepare themselves. And one of the things or parts of our family that are so near and dear to our heart, and we know they just can't prepare for themselves, is our pets. So this is my little guy, Buddha. Now that he's had his moment of fame to shine, and I know we all have pets at home. Some of us have multiple pets. We have cats, dogs, horses, you name it. And sometimes when in the madness of everything, we forget about them sometimes. So I just want to go over some tips and tricks and some resources where you can find more information as to where you can view this information and how you can get your pet ready. So I'm going to stop sharing really quick here. So the best way to prepare for your pet at home is just like you would prepare for yourself. You want to be informed, you want to be prepared. So a lot of us don't even realize that our pets need just as much water as we do. So if we're preparing 1 gallon per person, per family member, that includes your pet as well. So if I have 2 siblings, 2 parents, and 2 dogs, I'm going to prepare 1 gallon of water for each person per day for a minimum of 3 days. So that would be in my preparedness pack or in my preparedness box for to say. So I just wanted to show a resource, a great resource that we've mentioned multiple times throughout many presentations. So we have this website. It is called ready.gov. Really easy to remember. It's a great resource where you can find different information on different disasters and emergencies, how you can make a plan for you and your family. I think this is the most important because there's so many different scenarios. I've already mentioned before, what works for you might not work for me. So I want to make sure that we cover all grounds and everyone has a good understanding of what they can do to prepare themselves. So with that being said, I just want to go over some stuff that we have for pets and animals. Like I said, they're so near and dear to our heart. Just like you would prepare for your family, they are family. You want to make a plan. So create a body system in case you're not home. Ask your trusted neighbor to check on your animals. So I know a lot of us right now are spending quite a bit of time at home, but maybe in the future when we're back at work and we're back to running around everywhere and spending so much time away from home, sometimes we forget about our pets, or our pets do spend a lot of time alone. So this is just some important reminders. We want to be able to make sure we have a trusted friend or a neighbor who can go and check on the dog, or knows that you actually do have a dog or a pet at home, like, hey, this just happened, can you go check? Or maybe they're barking up a storm and they want to be able to say, hey, your dog's barking up a storm, like maybe you should come home and check. So to have that network of people to be able to rely on, I think is extremely important. And it also says locate a veterinarian or animal hospital in the area where you may be seeking temporary shelter or your pet's medical care. This is really important because just like us as human beings, we need health care for our pets, and we want to be able to provide them the best quality of life possible. So if that means in the event of an earthquake, if we need to put them in a safer shelter in a local hospital, or some of the pop-up shelters that will appear in the event of emergency, we need to be able to locate that and make sure that they can get to there and be placed in a safe manner while you can take care of yourself and then be able to take care of your pet. Because if you can't take care of yourself, then you can't take care of others. Take care of yourself before you take care of others. It also goes over some tips for large animals. So horses, cattle, sheep, goats, pigs on your property. So I'm from South Ontario, so I live very close to Norco. So there are people out there who do have to worry about horses and cows and cattle and whatnot. So for some of us, it might sound kind of strange, like, oh my goodness, do people still own cattle and goats these days? But yes, it still exists, and we still have quite a few things to plan out in the event of emergency. I know, especially when the fires strike, the wildfires, it's a very big struggle to be able to get all of the animals safe, out safe and into a protected area where they can actually finally find shelter, because animals are enduring just as much stress, if not more stress, when we're trying to relocate them. So that's just some information for you there. And just like we would build a kit for ourselves, we want to go ahead and build a kit for our pet at home. So have food for at least 3 days in an airtight, waterproof container. What I usually do for my pet's food is I keep it in a metal trash bin, one, because it keeps it away from other critters from the outdoors, and it also keeps it dry. So I leave it in the bag, and then I throw that into the actual metal trash container, and that helps keep it fresh. And what I'll do is I have a separate container in case of an emergency, which is a little bit smaller, but it's still airtight, it stays dry. And so the food doesn't go bad, I just rotate it out as the time goes by, because we don't obviously want to be holding food for a long time that goes bad. Just like we would replenish our own supplies with expiration dates, we would do the same for our dog food. We also want to have medical records, proof of vaccinations. This has to do a lot with when you have to maybe possibly put your pet into a shelter. Like we said, our pets carry so many different things that we as human beings probably couldn't handle. So they carry some sicknesses that human beings can't handle, or sometimes other animals carry other sicknesses that an older dog might not be able to handle versus a puppy. So we want to make sure we have those records. We want to have a picture of you and your pet together to prove ownership. So I know some of us have those luxury luxury breeds who unfortunately get stolen, or they sometimes black labs with red collars all look the same. So we need to be able to make sure we can prove that that is our pet. And then the last on the bottom of this little sheet here, we have some more resources, more links is where you can look for pet owners to know what to do for your pets. So that's all I really have for pet information, but I did want to go over that because June is Pet Preparedness Month. I know today is the last day of June, but I just wanted to make sure and share that information with you all. It's very important because sometimes when we're running around like crazy, we forget our pets or we forget our children. So we want to make sure in the event of emergency, we're ready to go and with the least amount of stress, because the less stressed we are, the less stress your pet is going to experience. And the last thing I want to cover, I know this is a little bit more off topic in the sense of pet preparedness, but it is still in the realm of preparedness. I know a lot of us are very fearful during these times that there are cases of coronavirus raising, and sometimes we forget. We just want to, oh, I want to go back to normal, or I really wish that things would just start opening back up. I'm really hurting. But we need to understand that this has been done for our safety. So I just wanted to go ahead and share the guides that we had shared in the beginning of this shutdown, where we talked about how to prepare for public health emergencies. Just to go over some terms, some tips and tricks. Like I said, these pages are available on all of our platforms. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or you can find us on our website at www.elsolnec, that's ELSOLNEC.org. So you can always find that information in different places. I wanted to go over these public health terms because we've been hearing it so many times. Sometimes we kind of doubt ourselves on what the meaning is. So isolation, or I want to go over the different forms of social distancing. So the first one would be isolation. So when someone has a very contagious illness, they may have to be asked to stay home or in a hospital. So that is when you are sick and you want to keep yourself at home. So if you have a positive diagnosis, you want to stay at home or stay wherever you are away from others to prevent them from getting sick. Quarantine would be in the case that you've probably been near someone. So a lot of healthcare workers or frontline workers are making the personal choice to stay away from their families. So this will help prevent whatever you get from the outside world and bringing it home to your family. And lastly, we have containment. So this is to stop a sickness from spreading from everyone in the community. This is necessary now, and it was necessary then to make sure we aren't spreading it from person to person. Like we said, we weren't sure people who were asymptomatic were spreading this. So these are just different terms that we might hear in the news, or we might just hear explained when we hear different things. So that's just a little review of some of the public health terms for public health emergencies. And this next page here is just some extra tips. You know, like I said earlier, what works for you might not work for me. So we have just different tips for different scenarios. I know some of us have some health concerns. We might have diabetes or high blood pressure or underlying conditions that might put us more at risk for contracting this virus. So we want to make sure we are safe. We stay home. We wash our hands. For caregivers of sick people, we want to make sure you keep them away from others, and if possible, use a separate bedroom and bathroom. Make sure it's just one person being the main caregiver versus multiple people. Make sure you wash your hands before and after to prevent the spread of the sickness. And then also when we're talking about families, I know these times have been more difficult than ever, because since we've been on lockdown, or we've been staying home, we've gone through so many holidays and it's been difficult. We've done Mother's Day, Easter, Father's Day, and now we're about to go through another holiday, 4th of July this weekend. And the temptation to visit our families and to spend time with family is there. But we need to remember that this is a temporary consequence for something that can help vastly in the long run. So that's really all I have for you. I really appreciate your time for listening and to tuning in and watching us for this information. If you could please fill out the survey that we have in the description, it would be greatly appreciated. Like I said, we use these presentations to count as numbers for our efforts in the Listos California campaign. So if you would like more information, you're more than welcome to visit our website at www.elsolnec.org, or you can always visit the Listos California website, which is listoscalifornia.org, and that has all the information you need from this emergency preparedness or the public health emergency preparedness guide and our usual emergency preparedness guide that we present to you on a regular basis. Like I said, I appreciate everyone's time for tuning in. Stay tuned for Wednesday. We will be introducing another community-based organization that we've been working with on this campaign, and they will have a different spin for you to view. And I look forward to seeing you all on Wednesday. Thank you all for your time, and please don't forget to fill out that survey.